Today we are going to design a political system, a society. So let's see if we don't kill each other by the end. So in the street now, I think if you ask any average person and you ask what is harder, like physics or politics, what do you think they will answer?
Physics.
Physics, no? But I made this, I don't know how to say, this graph or whatever, this structure, because for me politics is not that easy, no, as people think, no, because we have atoms and the rules for atom and physics, then we have set of atom, molecule, chemistry, no, set of molecules, cell, biology, set of cell, person, psychology, set of person, society, politics. So the thing with politics is that no, the rules, the science for politics is based on all this science before. So we have to know a lot to understand this. This is also why I think you asked me, or someone, why we don't want to speak about politics, no? Because we have to understand everything before. So yeah, no, and in each level we have what we call emergent property. You know what is emergent property? Maybe you should know. You know, emergent property. It rings, any bell? You know, my friend? Emergent property is a property that cannot be explained by the previous property, no? For example, like can you explain the mind only with the cells, no? It's seen, no, that when a lot of structure gets together, new properties arise, and we cannot understand very well why these properties come out. It's something in the universe, no? When a lot of things get together, and the more complex the system is, new properties arise, and we don't understand very well why they arise. So we call this emergent properties, and this is why it's very important. Politics. So, for example, I like to think like how sometimes the physics laws affect directly for example, the psychology laws. For example, why are we lazy? Or why humans are lazy, or even living beings, like animals just lie down the whole day. Why do you think it is, according to physics?
Because energy is valuable, like we don't want to spend in not productive way. So we sometimes lazy out of things that we don't think it's important. Also, even if it's important, like we kinda delay it, so and telling to ourselves like it's not important, like I can do later time. It's because
yeah, but how does it relate with the atoms?
like because like energy is valuable, like it's you don't want to spend it that physical power like basically no reason, like for no reason.
Yeah.
You wanna keep it.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to link is like the atoms with the mind, no? Because it's like very far away, but sometimes a law here, a physics law, affects directly like a psychology law. No, for example, you know electrics, so you know like the atoms with the we have the atoms, and this is an electron, and we have like various like layers, of electrons. So the atoms always tend to have the lower energy of level, This is a universal law. Everything tends to the lower energy of level. So if an electron is here, this electron is going to tend to be in this layer, because this layer is a lowest energy level, for example. So this is why we are lazy, because everything in the universe tends to be like to the lower energy state, for example. Or another law of the atoms is, you probably know, when they say you cannot know the speed and position of an atom at the same time, You know the Schrödinger principle. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
So no, you cannot know, because when you observe something, observing is not looking at it. Observing is you have a photon, so the photon impact with this. So this is why when the photon impact, it changes, the position and speed. So you cannot know never, because you have to interact with it. So the humans are the same, no? Like when we are observed, we change the behavior, no? We are not the same when we are alone in a room or when anyone enters the room. We instantly change, no? When we know we are being observed, when we interact with reality. So this is another, no? Again, no? Like a physics law affects directly a psychology law, for example. Or we have also biology law, no? What is the ultimate goal of any living being?
Reproduce.
To be alive, no? To reproduce. So many times, no, this to reproduce, no, to have sex, this affects so much psychology, no, that we become so horny that there is no reason, there is no consciousness, no, and the only thing in our mind is just to reproduce, no, ourselves, for example. So this is, no, a biology law affecting a psychology law. This is easier than this to this, no. The higher the jump, the hardest, obviously. Okay, so let's start creating a political system. Answer. Do we want a government or not?
I mean, it depends on the society, but you know, most of the societies we see that in basic, like tribal societies, we have a form of government. Like we have a like elder who's making the decisions. It's we need to like define the government, and you know, if you're talking about like decision-making body, in the basic terms, like in a tribal group, there's a like elder or like there's someone who's a leader, and so you know it's force of nature, I think. And as we like go like complex or society goes complex, our governments also like more goes advanced and becomes more complex. So I think it's needed.
You think it's needed?
Maybe like I don't know, like 3,000 years later. I don't know, like
Later or before?
if from now on, like
Later.
Yes, in 3,000 years in the future, maybe we don't need a government, but you know, in the current time, we need a government, or like before, like before our times also.
Okay. Any opinions over there? Akbar?
I think society needs government, and government needs society to have like balance. I think.
Okay. Over there? Yes? No? Anarchism?
Yeah, kinda. I don't think that we need a government to rule ourselves. Like, people can make decisions as a group, and you can define it as a government, but we don't need a really head of state or head of authority to tell us what to do. Like, society can do the things by themselves. Like, they can punish a criminal if you. I don't know, if you murder someone, like, society can punish it alone. Like, we don't need actually governments to protect us. So most of the times, the reason why we have governments now, because there are other governments to actually conquer us. Like, if there is no government in the world, we wouldn't need any government.
What if society didn't find about the criminals or the criminals
And there are jobs don't magically disappear after a government gone. Like, there are of course some vigilantes, or there are some detectives. We were looking for that in society, and will be respected as such.
Okay. And you, my friend?
Can I ask a question?
Eh?
Can I ask a question? Is there anywhere who doesn't have a government in the world? Any state? Anywhere? Any country?
Right now?
Yes.
Used to be.
Tribes.
I mean,
Tribes.
Libya, for example, is just at war. So they don't have a government.
They still have a government, right?
No, because they are fighting for who becomes the government.
Multiple governments.
Yeah.
Like,
I think then it's needed, I guess.
Yes? So we have 3 yes, 1 no, no? More or less. Okay, for me, to answer, I'm gonna refer, probably you know this guy, Hobbes.
Yes.
You know this guy?
Yes.
Yes.
4,036 years ago. You know this guy?
Yes.
Is
He
he writer of Leviathan?
Leviathan.
Yes.
Evet.
like
Leviathan.
he argues for like Leviathan, which is like in the mythology is a creature that it's a very powerful creature, and he argues for that. Does he argue for like creation for like I don't really sure, but in one of our classes they teach about hopes, but he argues that like every man is like unequal in some way. If you aren't stronger, you can compensate it with intelligence. If you cannot compensate it with intelligence, you can do it by your cunning or like tricks. And every people can like equalize themselves. But I'm not really sure about like he argued for government or did not. But
He did.
he did.
Yeah, also.
He's one of the starter of philosophy of politics.
He also kind
He's
of
the father.
kickstarted the fascism movements like that.
Yeah, he
So
was
he's,
pro-monarchy, yeah.
yeah.
But I think his argument is good for democracy also, but he was for the
Yeah,
for
he's
monarchy.
mostly authoritarian. Like.
So yeah, what he said is like if we don't have government, we are in the state of nature, no? In the state of nature, there is no moral, there is no value, there is no property, no? Everything belongs to everyone. So we fight for resources, no? And if there is no moral, there is no justice, there is no good and evil, no? The only value we fight for is surviving, no? Like self-preservation. So as you said, no? If all human beings fight for self-preservation, some of them are going to be athletic, some of them are going to be intelligent. So everyone is going to think they are capable to get that resource more than the others. So everyone start fighting for the resources. And he says like after thousands of years, or I don't know how much, human beings get tired all the time fighting for resources. So they make a contract with their neighbors. So they have an agreement. No, so no, I mean that's it. No, we already created the perfect system, but what is the problem with the contract?
There's a lot of problems.
The main problem.
It's like there is nobody to enforce it. Like you can also
Exactly.
break it.
Did you read the book?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, we have a good philosopher today here. So that's the problem, no? That the power of self-preservation, no? The power of the bacteria, no? That want to survive at all cost, no? Makes sometimes people break the contract. So he says that we need someone to protect the contract, and that is the government. So I really like this sentence. He said the government is a necessary evil. So yeah, I think today we are going to speak a lot about good and evil because I think politics and economics is very related to moral. So I think it's true because if you look at the history of humankind, it's all the time at war, all the time fighting, everything like we build castles, to protect ourselves. So I think it's true, like we need like some kind of government. It could be like, I like anarchism, but anarchism, as you said more or less, I think understood like horizontal system, not like a hierarchy system, but yeah, like I think we need like
anarchism is not just one idea. Like there are many visions about how it could be worked. Like there are communists, there are capitalistic anarchists, and the original anarchist was like they supported the idea of family systems to ensure stability. Like as a one big family we will rule the land. Like there's weird stuff, but yeah, how can we show that government can actually be just in this while enforcing these treaties? Like how can we don't know, like government can also align itself with some other group and they can only support their beliefs. Like we couldn't know for sure the government will be just.
Yeah, Yeah, that's one of the problem of democracy, no? When it gets so big, the government doesn't represent anymore the people. When it's like you said, like tribes, when it's small communities, the government is like direct representation. But then when it gets very big, yeah, that's the problem of government. Okay, yeah, I have to open. Okay. So, next question. Okay, we decide more or less that some kind of government is needed, no? So, what should protect the social contract that we agree?
So I can start. Society should protect it, but it should be educated first for that. So there is actually, before anarchism, we need a limited government to teach society how to be just and how to protect the social contract. Like
Yeah, but what I mean is, what is the social contract about? What do we agree on that we should do or we shouldn't?
it's not really universal. Like there are some laws in the United States and there are some different laws in China. Like, but there are some common grounds. Like you shouldn't steal, like you shouldn't kill someone. You shouldn't really basic universal stuff. Like I don't know.
Like balance of power also like protect the social contract. You know, we were like legislative or executive, and you know we have justice. I cannot find the third one. It's about justice. So you know these three things can balance itself. Also, we have means of power. We have the people. So these four power could body of power could protect the social contract if one side isn't agreeing on social contract or denying social contract. So the other bodies of power could protect the social contract.
So, like a government for the government, no? Okay.
The balance of power. So you know, in a basic, you know, most of the governments we have like legislative, executive, and you know.
Yeah, this is the biggest lie in history.
Yes, yeah, and also we have the people. So you know, people they can protect the social contract, basically.
Okay, but what I was asking here more is like what is okay, the social contract is like what is it protecting? What is inside the social
Okay.
contract?
I think
Like what is a good society?
I think for the progress, social contract must protect freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and freedom of basic ownership, like houses and your personal stuff. Also protect your life and your liberty or consent. That's kind of stuff.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds good.
Any opinions, Akbar? What do you think is a good value in society?
What do you think about it?
No, I'm gonna speak. I can speak a lot, but this is for everyone to speak. What do you think, Emre? A good value to protect.
I think, like he said,
It has to be very universal, no? Because
mostly freedom, but
freedom is very general. Freedom for what? Freedom to kill?
freedom until it interferes with another person's freedom. So it shouldn't interfere with anybody's freedom, but as much as possible. Without
Okay.
interfering anybody's own freedom, like not killing anybody, because it's of course attacking freedom, another person's freedom, but unless that, we should be able to do whatever we want.
Yeah, sounds like capitalism, no? More or less. Okay, you want to speak? No, no?
a social contract, dictates how a nation should live, and also like you talked about freedom, but maybe the people have like doesn't really want a freedom, doesn't want liberties. Maybe they have like protective values, and a social contract could be built around that protective value. So a social contract doesn't mean necessarily like liberties, protection of liberties. It would mean like more protective and more limiting. We could have a limiting social contract. So I think it's wrong to say that it protects liberties necessarily.
Okay. So for me, the social contract, like in a simple sentence, should protect good and should defend us against evil. No, but what is good and evil? Who choose what is good and evil? No, this is morality. No, morality is like choosing the good, no, and rejecting the evil. So one way to understand morality, I really liked. Where did I put the? Is, as I said before, like when you, and I really like when I like hear one word, it's always linked to a negative thing, but suddenly someone makes me see that word in a different perspective. So the way I understood morality is through intolerance. I don't know if you see in the image. I ask, is intolerance good? Have you seen? It's in the poster. So the way I understand morality, because I understood when I studied this topic that a good society is intolerance, but intolerance against what? And I really like because this is like a mathematic. It works like mathematics, because when you are intolerance of intolerance, what happens? That you have tolerance, and this is like mathematics, like negative, by negative, positive. Now, what happens when you are intolerance of tolerance? Negative, positive. What do you have?
Intolerance.
Intolerance, no? It's like mathematics. Sometimes the words work like mathematics, no? You have like tolerance of intolerance, the same intolerance, and if you are tolerance of tolerance, you have tolerance. No? Positive, 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 negative, negative. No? So this is for me morality. Morality is being intolerance, but it's a very special, very specific intolerance because it's intolerance of intolerance. So then you have tolerance. No? So in a way, all societies are intolerant. No? We are intolerant with rapists. We are intolerant of killers. We are intolerant of thieves. We are intolerant of corruption. No? We should be intolerant of intolerance. So this is the way I understood a little bit like morality, because I never heard like using intolerance in a positive settings, but in a way we are intolerant. So yeah, and can you be like, are you responsible if you are not free? For example, you are an slave. Like, are you responsible for your action? Can you be good or evil if you are an slave? Like, you are a slave and your owner tells you you have to kill someone. Are you responsible for that action?
No, because you don't have any rights. You are basically like tool for the owner. So maybe morality, on your morality you are responsible, but you have no choice because you are a slave.
So are you responsible or not?
Maybe could be responsible also.
What do you think over here?
Yeah, you are still responsible, but less like it's not 1 or 0, like it's like 0.25 instead of.
Okay, 25% responsible. And you?
Tell the owner to kill this guy himself, not me.
What?
Like the owner tells me to kill this guy,
Yeah.
so I tell the owner go kill himself. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, but you are a slave. Like, you don't kill him, they kill you, I guess.
I'll kill him.
This is a good slave mentality, but many slaves were killed like this. Yeah, this is like I think Descartes was the one who talked about it, no? Because the social contract is usually linked to Descartes. You know Descartes, I guess. But for me, the social contract is linked to Hobbes because he was the first to. Like maybe he didn't say these words in particular, but for me, he was like the origin of the concept is it's starting in him. So, but Descartes also talked about it, and he talked about freedom. No, if you are not free, he said you cannot be good or evil because you are not choosing anything. No, it's like animals, like a lion killing a gazelle. A lion is not bad or good because the lion is just a slave, no, of its mechanisms of the biology. So, no, like if you are not free, there is no morality. So, to have morality, first we have to be free. So as you said, like it's very important to protect, no, the freedom because freedom is the first step to be moral, no, because then you can choose between good and evil. Okay. One thing I really like about history is that the greatest thinkers, you know, like Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, the greatest, like in the past, like very few, I don't know any, to be honest, like they didn't think, no, that slavery was bad, no, and they are like the greatest thinker, no, they have to think outside the box, but they didn't. So why? Because for me, when I try to research this topic, I always see like very like I don't know, like basic reason, like they are just a product of their culture, no? They just follow their culture, but this is for a normal people. But if you are the greatest thinker in human history, you have to think, no, beyond your society. So for me, it's more like a psychology thing, no? Because if they were smart, no, we are supposing they are smart because they are the greatest thinker in humankind. So if they were smart, they probably thought, for me, like if I say slavery is bad, then I have to work. So I'm not gonna say slavery is bad because I don't like working. I prefer that my slave work, and I philosophize here about the atoms of the universe. So for me, it's more not like a psychological thing. It's not about being they were dumb and they didn't realize it's bad. It's like they didn't want to think that way. No, so this is also to prove like how society, you know, can make us feel in a way, you know, how we can support our society's values, but they are very bad, no? Even the greatest thinker didn't could think beyond. So, as you said, more or less, this is more or less what almost universally we have agreed, no, that it's evil, no? And it has taken thousands of years, no, for this thing to be agreed that they are evil, no? Like war, slavery, fascism, sexism, racism, killing, stealing, rape, kidnapping, pedophilia. It's very interesting that these things were not evil in the past, it was just the opposite. Most of these things were like good, and not only good, it was the reward. If you were a good citizen, you could do all of this, no? Like, if you went to war for your fascist government, then you could have a slave. The slave, you could rape the slave because it was a woman many times, probably it was a children also the slave. You can do to the slave, you can kill the slave, you can do anything to the slave, no? So all these values were in the past were the opposite, no? They were positive, but now we have agreed they are clearly not positive. So for me, these values are based. I think this is like the scientific base for moralities. For example, when I speak with religious people, one of the things they like to say is, without God, there is no basis for moral. But for me, you can be moral without God. Obviously, you don't need any God to be moral. You can be moral based on logic. And this guy, you probably know, Locke. Yes. Locke, 300, 900. This guy for me established the base for being, like how to be like moral. The three natural rights, life, freedom, and maybe this one is property. Why? Because he said, no, you are born, so just because you are born, you have the right to be alive, no? You are born free, so by the same way, no? If you are born free, you have right to be free, no? Like any living being. And property, by property, he refers to the property of your own work. So you have the right, no? If you work like agriculture, no? And you are planting your trees and you take the fruit, so you have the right to this property. No, so if you think about it, all these things we consider evil, they go against these three things only. And everything, almost everything in modern society, they go against this. So if you go against this, we think it's evil. No? So yeah, I really like the basis for morality of Locke. This is also, as I said, I like linking everything to love. So for me, like love in this case is found like in natural selection, no? Because the natural selection preserves the positive ideas, no? And natural selection rejects negative ideas, no? So for thousands of years, no? Even if evil was good in the past, evil cannot survive because it's not, like it's not naturally positive in a way. So no, evil dies, like hate dies, and love survives, no? Because now all the world is coming to the same idea of love, no, of positive, of good. So in a way, no, this is how I think of love. Okay, so we said killing is immoral, evil, but could it be moral?
Yes.
When?
So, at the times you need to protect yourself. Like if you don't have a choice and someone tries to kill you, you should kill him first. Like it's the basics. You should be able to defend yourself or someone you loved. Like if someone tries to hurt someone in your family, you should be able to defend that person.
But defending doesn't mean necessarily killing them.
Like think like a situation, you have a firearm and someone tries to murder someone and you shoot him. And because there is no harm, he died there. Is it immoral? Like you saved someone's life actually.
Maybe can I ask something? Maybe he wasn't actually trying to kill someone, you just receive it like that. You just
But
saw it
it's-
like he tried to kill. What happens next?
It's not a question about that. It's clear. You 100% know that he is going to kill him. Like, if it's the question, it will be a different question.
So
Completely different question.
So yeah, no, this is a little bit like American system against European system. No? For American, it's totally moral to kill someone, no? If you are defending yourself or someone. But in Europe, in Spain, if you kill someone, even in your own defense, I think you go to jail. So yeah, it's interesting.
Because Europe has a good police system, like they can defend their citizens, but in Turkey and America, the police are very slow to react to these situations like robbery or about potential murders, potential sexual assaults. Like they are very slow to respond, and they are often too late to feel like so. It those type of stations is okay. Like it's more of
Good. To Akbar, what do you think? No, you wanted to be like Genghis Khan?
Like, you have to protect someone, then it's okay.
It's okay, no?
Yeah.
Okay. And you?
I think it should be like last resort to kill someone, because if you even like is the person to danger to yourself or your loved or innocent one, murder isn't going to like you should try to at least by warning them or physically intervening them, but killing them is like should be the last resort. I couldn't speak like formally. I couldn't speak much. Killing should be the last resort to be. I couldn't form a sentence. I think it should be last resort to kill someone. You should intervene and at least hurt them, but killing them should be last resort.
Yeah, it should be last. Because for me to answer, I'm gonna refer to Machiavelli. You know this guy?
Yes.
Good. What do you know about him?
The book.
He,
The Prince.
The Prince? Did you read it?
Yes, I also read it.
I also read it, and he's a political advisor. He was a political advisor, and he just ends justify the means. Like he had a principle like this. So, but I think he has a unjust reputation because in his book he talks about means of any means, but he also talks about the cost of your or negative impact of that means. So he talks about positive or moral means, and he examines that if you go moral way, if you do moral things, these negative things could happen. If you do immoral things to do your targets or achieve your targets, these kinds of negative things could happen to you. So I think the Machiavellian word is
Machiavellian.
kind of unjust. I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
a little bit could be. Yeah. You know Machiavellian, the adjective? Machiavellian means using questionable tactics for a goal, no? So I like Machiavelli when I read it because, as you said, no, he said his philosophy is considered like consequentialism. Good or evil is decided by the consequence of the action, not the means. So for him, when in peaceful time you have to use moral tactics, but when it's war times, you have to be the most immoral possible to survive. For example, no? So everything is about adapting to the resources you have. And for me, I really like him because I consider Europe like the good system we have in Europe. It didn't come through hugs, kisses, peaceful agreement. No, the good system we have in Europe came through a lot of revolution, fights, wars. Against the elites, because the elites for me they have the elites are the monarchy, the religions. Now is the multi-business, the international business. So these groups all the time, they have tried to limit. All right, all the time they try. They even play with the words, and they disguise evil as good and good as evil. So for them, for example, being a slave was good. So if you want to revolt against being a slave, all society treats you bad because they think you are doing something bad, because being a slave is good for them, because God said that you have to be a slave for their civilization, for the system or whatever. So they always play with good and evil. But for me, the answer is obvious. If you want to limit my natural right, then I will kill you, because my neighbor is France. So if you have to learn something from the French people, is to always revolt against the evil, always. I know French people seem very prepotent, maybe you've heard this idea about French people, and to be honest, many French people they are like this, but against intolerance is bad, but what happens when you are prepotent with the elites, what happens when you are prepotent against intolerant people? Then you become free, you make the French Revolution. So again, being prepotent maybe in the daily life is bad, but being prepotent, not letting anyone command you, is good to fight against dictators, for example. So I think this is a very good quality of French people. Okay. So now we have to choose an economy for our society. Which economy we choose? Not from here. If you know your own economy, what do you think? You have Any economy ideas?
I think institutional works the best for now. But you know, it depends on the country, it depends on the people you want to rule. So you know, it doesn't necessarily like objectively or you know, like one school of economy is only the right one. Doesn't mean necessarily. It could depend on the time, the people, like the environment, your geography. It depends on many dynamic things. So, but I think you know institutional works for best for like the Western societies.
Yeah,
Or
what is
maybe
institutional according to you?
institutional like how can I say it? So basically you know we have like how can I say it? Like the
Institutions?
yes institutions basically you know they have a tradition of doing something, they have like do things like more scientific way, try to, and they also like a lot of institutions are independent from like political from the political influence, so they can do like more correct things, more like without political how can I say political pressures. So you know they could do more long-term gain for people's benefit.
Okay.
Can I ask some of the
You only ask.
Yeah, for now. What is neo-Schumpeterian?
This guy knows better than me for sure. You know?
No, I heard it for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know much. It's very technical
Yes.
that school. I'm gonna explain some of them, but this one in particular is very technical, so I don't know much.
Australian is, I don't know about Australian. Marxist is basically like communism. No, not communism. Marxism is like similar to communism, I believe. Neoclassical is, I don't know the difference between classical and neoclassical really, but classicals basically say that do not intervene. So
Yeah.
laissez-faire, like they had the term, you know, in the long run everything will fix itself. And in the contrary, they had the like Keynesians. Keynesians argue for intervention to economy through the central bank, and you know the interest rates, and you know because of in the long run everybody's dead. You know we should think about the short run. So you know we should employ people. We should control the money, and we should try to like control the money. So they have like classicals and behavior. I don't know about like behavioral.
Yeah, so for me, economy, as you said, it tends to be like fanatical, no? Like football, like people become like fan of one school only, no? And they defend it to death. But I think you have to be eclectic. I really like this word. Like eclectic is taking a little bit from everything. I consider all my philosophy eclectic. I like, as I said, reading from all the extreme, from the center. I don't care. I like having all the perspective. So, for example, like classical, as you said, is just let the economy be free because the participant of the economy will regulate themselves. And then we have neoclassical that said like you have to let economy be free, but only when the economy is going bad is when you have to intervene.
Liberal.
Yeah, the better.
Yeah, I don't know. Liberal is like a little bit. I feel like intolerant. Like everything you don't like now. I think people say no, this is liberal, but I don't know if it's liberal or not. Yeah, I think it's liberal, but for me, neoclassical is very similar to Europe, and I think it's one of the best systems, no? Because for example, you know, in Europe, I think it's right now the best socioeconomic system in the world. It works like neoclassical, no? Because in Europe we are like a capitalist market, no? But we put a lot of regulation to the market because no, we now know no, that when the market is totally free, then a lot of atrocities no, are committed, like slave trade, wars, monopolies, market manipulation. So for me, it's obvious.
Also, it's very exploitation for workers stuff.
Yeah.
Like before the Marxist economics, like there were very low wages and there are no social rights. Like what do you say after you pass one certain age, you couldn't be retired. Also, you can't be. If you have a working accident, you couldn't get any money or any neyse artık. You can't get any money from the company or you basically don't have rights before Marxist economics. Like out of fear, they give those rights.
Yeah, that was the capitalist system before Marxist. So I'm gonna speak about Marxism now. I was talking about neoclassical, so I think Europe, and then you have some example, maybe Singapore, New Zealand, Canada. I don't consider the USA a good socioeconomic system. The USA for me is a good economic system, but not socioeconomic system. So I think the good socioeconomic system right now apply more or less that, like you have to regulate, you have to put moral limit to the market because not every way of getting money is moral. Like you cannot go to Africa, bring black people and make them cultivate cotton. This is not the classical way. Everything is allowed, but I don't think that is. So and then the Marxists, as you said, before, I think the best thing about Marxists is that we are not numbers anymore, we are not worker 1, worker 2, worker 3. We were like this before. So Marxists changed that, and he said like work.
I mean, I don't understand with Marxists. We are not workers anymore,
We are not numbers.
but we still like numbers in Marxism also. We are also like numbers. We don't have personal value. I mean, individual as an individual.
When we don't have personal value.
In Marxism.
Why not?
Why would it have? Why would we have? Just everybody is same.
No, this is like a very simplified idea people say about communism, but communism is not that simple, or Marxism. Communism is different also. No, Marxist, as this guy was telling, like before Marxist, workers didn't have almost any right. They were working 12 hours from Monday to Sunday. They were working children in the mines. Everyone was dying. Nobody had any rights. So Marxist said that the workers are humans. That we are not just numbers in an economic system. We are humans. So we need like working conditions. Marxists talk about the psychological aspect of working. We are not just equation. We are not mathematics. We are people working. So we need labor rights. So thanks to Marx, there is labor rights in Europe. USA not that much, but Canada and these countries, all countries more or less. Then we have the Austrian. The Austrian were like the enemies of Marx, so they criticize a lot of Marx because Marx criticized a lot like the companies. Marx says that like the owner of the company is stealing money, from the worker, the surplus. I think it's called surplus, because I don't know, like the worker is doing something for 5 euros, and the owner is selling that for 20 euros. So the owner is taking 15 euros, from the worker. Marx says more or less. So, but the Austrian said that the owner of the company is not just, he didn't create the company out of nowhere, Like the owner of the company, he needs to risk a lot. He has to buy like an empty land. He has to think of a business for that area. He has to hire workers. He has to be competitive. He has to update the company all the time. So he's also making a risk. So it's not like the salary of the business woman is coming out of nowhere. Like the business woman are also making a job, although it's not that mechanical. In a certain way, I agree also because I consider I think a society should be like a meritocracy. Meritocracy?
Yes. basically like it's based on people's merits, so you know
Yeah.
it's basically
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
it's that.
How can I explain it?
Yeah, it's that. So yeah, I think if you want to work more, if you want to be creative, if you have good ideas, I think you should have more. But I think like the relation between the businesswoman's salary and the worker's salary shouldn't be like right now, like the workers at at McDonald's, they are earning 1,000 euros, and the owners are earning 1 million euros. So I think for me this is an abusive relationship. I agree that if you created the business, maybe you should have more money or whatever, but you shouldn't exploit your worker for having more money because there is no need. Then we have, for example, the developmentalists. This says that like countries in, how do you say in English, like in progress, countries in
Developing countries.
in ways of development countries, they shouldn't use like the classical tactics because they have to work with another like environment, no? So that if you use these tactics now, you are not gonna thrive. You have to use what they did like in the past. So for example, you have to promote your own business, your own materials, your own workers, your own infrastructure. You have to limit import, you have to promote export, you have to create first the economy for yourself. No, you have to put a lot of limits to the companies coming to you. For example, they say, if a company comes, the company has to train the workers, in that country so the workers learn how to work. No, it's not just working; it's also like teaching the workers how to do that. No, if a company comes to your country, the company has to use local materials. It cannot use like just cheaper material from anywhere else. So it's like, yeah, it's like promoting yourself and making harder that international companies come to you because then you don't control your own economy and you are exposed to the capitalist.
I think this is the system Turkey is defining itself. Developmentalism, I guess.
Could be, because I think it's like Turkey limits a lot import and
Yes.
promote exports.
Yeah.
In theory.
Hmm?
In theory.
In theory, there are holes probably. And one thing I like about Keynesian is that he says, I think is hint, you have to, the only thing that shouldn't be free in the market is the thing with the natural rights, for example, like food, house, medicine, like health, education, all of these like basic stuff, this shouldn't be in the capitalist system. This should be like by controlled by the government, and the rest it should be free. Like, if you want, I don't know, like a backpack, if you want a car, okay, that's for the capitalist system. But if you want to have a house, food, water, education, and health, this cannot belong to the capitalist system because I think the best example is the USA. In the USA, if you break a leg, it's almost if you die because you're gonna have 1 million euros on debt if you go to the hospital. So yeah, better not to break a leg in the USA. Okay, one question. I think this is stop. What do you think?
A European could be better at life, could have better life.
Who?
European citizen.
Today.
Today.
It's only because of technology, like it's not because a queen is like a bad person. Like a citizen of European 1000 years ago is kind of very terrible situation, like to be in citizen, like a peasant in a feudal system. But a queen 1000 years ago is also bad because of the technology.
So, what is your answer?
It's European citizen, of course, because it's in a modern day, like because of the medical technology we have.
But we don't live 1,000 years ago. We live in today, so it's not a really logical comparison.
No?
Because
why
a
not?
queen in his time is really good health, really good life. if you compare to peasants.
So if I say here instead of European, Turkish, who do you think?
I mean, still Turkish, but
Still?
yes, because we don't live in the same time. Of course, we have better health access than a queen because we have more medicine, more technology, more access to clean water source, clean food sources. So yeah,
So if I say here like an African, what do you think?
Depends on which African country.
Yeah.
Any African.
North African, not really. Like South African, like not South African, but Central African, like underworld regions maybe first, because they don't have a clean water or don't have the medical technology, at least in usage. So it's really hard, especially in African villages, not like big cities, but actual rural regions of Africa.
I mean, at least African citizen has maybe he can like or she can immigrate to better countries, but a queen couldn't get a better life. He couldn't get a better life 1,000 years ago. So an African citizen could have the chance to have a better life than has the chance to have a better life.
Than a queen.
Yes, 1,000 years ago. Like at least he has she has the chance to get to reach the amenities of today, technology of today. But Queen, she's on the top already. So she can't go anywhere above, and they are limited by they are in the limit. It was a weird comparison, but at least African people has the chance to have a better life.
So yeah, so for me, I make this question to realize that we have come so far that any citizen, at least in Europe, any citizen has a better life than a queen, no? So I think this is like a remarkable feat of humankind, because as you said, no, the queen maybe didn't work all his life. He never had to work one day, but no, if you have any infection, she could die. She didn't have internet or many leisure options. She didn't have flights to travel all the world. She lived in a total sexist society, so she was not safe when she walked on the street. If she could walk, because I have traveled a lot and many times the queen was not allowed to go outside the castle by the king, because they told me because the king was afraid that maybe the queen fucked someone. So if the queen fucked someone, the king doesn't know if his children are from him or someone else. So many times the queen were literally a slave of the king. So yeah, it's not as good as it seems. So this is how I see the economic history of the world. No, what do you think this represents?
I think the
Savings.
longest.
Savings, for example.
Income, chart of income maybe in people top, they got the most money, less people, and we go down, more people, we have more people, but they have less money. And it could be in the left one, it could be about past, and in the second, it's kind of today's world, and in average, people gets more, but also in the top, people gets even more than before.
It's sum of bottom two blocks. Each block is sum of, so it could be some, I don't know, generational wealth or something.
I see it as like the
Because
Western-
2 plus 1, 3, and 3, 3 is 6, 5, 6, 11.
Yeah, it's more like to keep it logical.
I see it as like the Western Europe and Eastern Europe.
Could be, could be.
Well, generational wealth or something, because it's combination of 2 blocks, it's weird.
Yeah, because the money from here doesn't come out of nowhere. No, it comes from here. This from here. So this is why.
There is.
But it's not like.
There's actually.
It's not like a scientific, view of economy already. Just like a business.